So let's talk kefir. Who wants to hear about kefir? Is anybody making kefir?
I've had a go.
You had a go? Found it pretty easy? Yeah, cool. So there's two types of kefir. I'll pass this around. So you got water kefir, I'll get milk kefir. I'm going to talk that first, and then water kefir on this side here. Sorry guys, I'm not giving you much love on this side. And what kefir is, it's again, remember I talked about those quorum sensing gangs in the gut? This is like a gang. They're like a group of bacteria many thousands of years ago, potentially millions of years ago, that formed this biofilm, which is the same thing that's happening in the gut. And so they protect each other, and they keep each other healthy, and they keep propagating, and they keep producing what we call an exopolysaccharide, which is bits of sugar stuck together. That's all it is. That gum is just sugar, but not like sucrose sugar. It's like in food sugars. And milk kefir. So milk kefir, there's mentions of milk kefir in the Bible, very, very ancient foods. From the research that I've looked at, I believe that it probably came into our world through the Mongol tribes, essentially from horse milk, in the storage of horse milk. They used to ferment horse milk. And because the Mongols were conquering and invading and all that, they spread it into the steppe cultures, in Caucasus, Central Eurasia. Then it got into Russia, and then it spread into the rest of the world. And that's milk kefir. What's the benefits? So it's very rich in probiotics. Depending on what study you look at, there could be anywhere between 30 and 100 probiotic strains. Think about that for a second. Typically a probiotic tablet will have maybe 5 if you're lucky. Some of the expensive ones might have even more. But we're talking 30 to 100, consensus is around 50. Michael Mosley in his book will say around 50. That's a consensus. Very probiotic rich. Very boosting to the immune system. Antidepressant because it aids in serotonin production. Milk kefir itself, listen to this, is very rich in tryptophan. Extremely rich. Yeah. So you're giving the gut the raw material and the bacteria to produce serotonin.
Is water kefir equally as, no?
Yeah. Milk, damn. The highest tryptophan content is going to be in goat's milk. Kefir, yeah.
Is it okay that goat's milk's pasteurised?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Because I thought it might be.
It's totally fine. Not many people have access to raw milk anymore. Most of the time, if you can get the bath milks, they put like a bittering compound in there, so you can't consume it. So it's antidepressant. I should mention kefir actually means feel good in Turkish. So they worked it out many thousands of years ago. Anti-inflammatory. Lots of good studies around this with kefir and anti-inflammation, which is typically the root of most diseases. You can use it to treat IBS, bloating, and many types of gut issues. I have very severe hay fever, and it's a lot of pollen, and I use milk kefir to keep that at bay. It's very effective for me. People also use it for asthma.
For skin problems like psoriasis.
Greg's the man there. Greg, you talk about it quickly.
I've been taking water kefir for probably 4 or 5 months now, and I had a pretty bad case of psoriasis, and it's basically clear. I'll show you.
He always does this.
Krim and I used to work together, and we went through pretty much the same issue at work and depression and stuff like that. And it overcame my body, and I can show you there. You can see that was red, raw, scaly, and also on my leg I've actually itched that a bit today, but that was all around as well. So
I have psoriasis.
My daughter was there. I had it at 3 months of age until she was 21.
Yeah,
So I got that book up in psychology.
I found it slowly working. Like it's not going to fix it overnight, but every day I have my kefir water, every day, and I can see the benefits already. And I don't put it down. I tried creams, I tried all the pills, I tried everything, and that's the only thing I can put it down to that I've changed in my life. We're still taking that every day, and I just shake my body up.
Yeah,
Cool, thanks Greg.
Topically as well as...
Yes, absolutely. My wife actually makes a mask before she goes to I think bedtime. She mixes it with some. When she comes, we'll ask her how she does it. But you can apply it topically onto skin.
Might be trying to get rid of you.
Maybe. It's very confusing because, again, if you look at like Michael Mosley or GAPS, the first stage is always going to be an elimination or FODMAPs, because
Done cyber.
and SIBO, you know, because the reason why is because with FODMAP, why it's so effective, because you don't really know what's aggravating the gut. So what they do is they take out everything that's known to aggravate, whether it's nightshades, high fiber, lentils. When I was in dysbiosis, I could not have lentils. I had to tell my mum to not cook with lentils because I was just bloated. I just blew up. And I was just gassing like crazy. When I healed my gut and the lining is now secure, I love lentils and chickpeas. But you have to go through that process of elimination to heal it, break the gangs, get the right guys in there, and then you'll be perfectly fine.
When you're doing kefir, can you use almond milk?
You can. I'll demonstrate now kefir. So all I've done is I've taken a packet of grains in, and this is 250 mils of milk.
Just normal full cream.
Normal full cream milk. We
Not
use
heated?
not heated. We don't heat it. It's just there's so much good bacteria in the kefir that it stops it from going off. So it stops putrefaction of milk. So it's fermenting it, and that keeps it safe. There's lots of self-protection happening in here.
So how long could you leave that at room temperature for it to remain
I think,
safe?
I mean, you could leave this for years.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't have to refrigerate it at all?
The ancients they wouldn't have fridges, exactly. In the steppe civilizations, they never had that. So all they're doing is they're extending the shelf life of their milk by using this fermentation process. But what will happen is, what will limit the shelf life is the taste. It might become really sour, it might defect, fizzy, it might create, and eventually that will turn into cheese. So the curds and whey will hit a certain pH and it'll split into curds and whey. So we do have so the milk is in, the grains are in. You just fill up, this is a kefir maker, it's a brilliant little device. You just fill to the first line. Very, very simple. And then what we're going to do is we're going to we have a special premix in here, and it's got inulin, which is another great fibrous product, which actually feeds the good guys. Specifically Bifido. Bifido love inulin.
Do you have to use it, or can you not use
You don't need to use it. I mean, you'll make perfectly good kefir. I find it creates a slightly thicker, creamier texture, but it does substantially boost the nutritive value of the kefir. So it produces, you can Google it yourself, GCMAF, there's some studies to produce GCMAF, another immune boosting.
That's different to the water kefir.
Yes, there's a different premix. So all we do is you just give this a mix. You can even use almond milk, you can use coconut milk, you just substitute it. Sour?
I like it.
You like it? They're very different products. They're different cultures, they come from different areas. Milk kefir has more strains, but water kefir is still equally as good. But the good thing is it has different types of strains. So each strain is going to be doing different things, and the key to good gut health is having diversity in the gut. So what we're going to do is I recommend keeping this slightly open, because what it'll do is it'll limit any alcohol production in the product. So slightly open, you leave this for 24 hours or so, up to 48 even if it's a bit cooler, and what you'll see is it'll start to turn into the product that you're tasting.
Just in the pantry or?
In the pantry, yep. You can keep it in a nice warm spot. Around 18 to say 24 is a good place
Where's
to be.
the sweet spot in sourness? Is it in 3 days to 7 or something like this?
No, typically it should be 48. I would say, yeah. All right, it's a very fast ferment. It's extremely fast. If it's really hot, it might be 12 hours. See, that's why I say with kefir making, taste often, get to know what taste you like and when to stop it. So once you're happy with that, you know when to stop.
And once it's made and done, would you then put it in the fridge?
Yeah. So once it's ready,
Going sour.
it'll slow it down. So it will sour, but it'll just take longer.
Yeah.
It just slows it down.
How much
Perfectly
should
fine.
you drink? What's the recommended
Yes,
dosage?
I recommend around 250. When I'm treating my allergies and things, I'll dose up like 600 mils. But what I recommend for people just starting out with kefir is literally start with like a teaspoon or even like Yeah, tablespoon max. And just monitor how your body reacts to it. If you're having like a skin rash or you're getting a loose bowel, this is very common because it's called a Herx reaction. So you need to, as you break these gangs in the gut, these dead cells can be quite toxic, candida, some other bad ones, and as they shed, they might trigger an autoimmune response where you get diarrhea, which is normal.
Time of the day to take it, like this first thing in the morning, before food and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, I like it first thing in the morning, but what I recommend, guys, is you try and incorporate this in all your food. You know, like use it in your cooking, use it as much as you can for salad dressings, for baking. And don't be too stressed about killing the cells because there's some good, what we call metabolites in there, which will still be beneficial. Because if you're having it raw anyway, I mean, use it in your cooking. When you're making 250 mils, you actually start to produce quite a lot.
Do you add that
So-
stuff in every time, that extra inulin or whatever it is?
I like to add it,
And how much do you put in?
just a tablespoon.
One
Tablespoon per 250 mils.
And mine's been a bit thin. Is that still alright?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's a wild ferment. So everybody is going to produce a different kefir. No one's going to be the same. What will happen is it's going to adapt to your environment and create its own unique culture. So it's specific for you. The taste will be different, the texture will be different. It'll change as the weather shifts. It'll change, in different climates and different states. It's not like a starter culture that works exactly the same time, tried and true. It varies. But that's the beauty of wild fermentation. You never quite know what you're going to get.
And as the grains multiply, do you use more milk because you've only used this much?
Yes.
Then you would actually increase the milk.
Yes, exactly. So you can scale up. I'd actually wait till about 4 times, so the grains multiply 4 times the original weight. When you start to take some out, or you start to increase your milk quantity. Make sense?
Yeah. One question. With all the other yeasts that are floating around in the atmosphere,
Yes.
does this affect it as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So what will happen? There'll be the unique environmental stuff that's happening, but what will happen is that they'll either incorporate into the ferment or they'll be suppressed because you've got up to 100 strains. That's a big gang to surpass, right? So they have to compete with these guys. That's why studies are showing that kefir actually kills salmonella. It kills pathogens, E. coli, kills them because they're mainly lactobacilli. And as I said, lactobacilli produce hydrogen peroxide. So they spray their enemies. They kill them. Amazing when you think about it. So I better keep moving, guys. So we'll go into water kefir.